What's up, everyone? It's Dustin and Chris from Solozo coming at you today. We're going to be talking about the top 5 things to improve your Amazon PPC. We got a lot to cover. But first, before we dig into it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We put out tons of content every day. We go live on our podcast, Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone. So if you haven't listened to us before, or if you're not subscribed to our podcast, go to the podcast platform of your choice, search Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, and subscribe to our podcast. Also, make sure you're subscribing to this YouTube channel right here. Click subscribe. We go live all the time on here, so you'll be notified when we do. You'll get our latest videos. You can also follow us on our Facebook page, so Solozo on Facebook. You can like that page. Make sure you turn on notifications so that you're notified when we go live on Facebook as well. All right, Chris, let's dig into this. This is just a great topic. 5 things you can do right now to improve your Amazon PPC.
Yeah, this is good. And we got a little presentation here we're going to bring up here. So we're going to kind of dive into this and kind of show what are some things that you could be doing now to kind of help with your Amazon PPC. So let me pull that up here. All right. Dustin, take it away.
All right. Well, let's just dive right in to number 1. Number 1's basic. You need to be optimizing your campaigns. Chris, yeah, you got that? All right.
Yep.
So you have to be optimizing your campaigns. It's critical. I think the big mistake that people make right off the bat is they'll just launch an auto campaign. They launch an auto campaign and it's going, and they do nothing in there to make adjustments to clean it up. And as you and I both know, auto campaigns can be great, but they can also waste a lot of your money. So if you're not doing any just sort of basic optimization, that's where you want to start right off the bat.
Yeah, and to kind of get furthermore, optimizing your campaign, doing this on a weekly basis in your campaign, what that means is you have an auto campaign running. So you went to Amazon.com, you clicked Campaign Manager, you did advertising, and then you selected Auto Campaign. When you do the auto campaign, that is when Amazon is going to show you, or is going to take your product and they're going to put you wherever they think is relative for your listing. So before you even advertise, like making sure your listing is got all the photos, got good titles, bullet points, descriptions, all that, even back in search terms, all that's going to be important because that's what Amazon's going to look at when you do things like an auto campaign. So again, auto campaign doesn't mean it's automated. Auto campaign is Amazon is going to dictate where your product shows up, and it's based off of your listing. So once you do an auto campaign, there's other steps you need to do next. And Dustin, what do you do after you do an auto campaign? Like after a week, what would you suggest you do?
Absolutely. Why don't you scroll down to the next slide so we can go through this step by step here. All right, here we go. So some of the basic things that you would want to do to start optimizing your campaigns is make sure that you are moving converted search terms and ASINs out of your automatic campaign and into a manual campaign. That way you can adjust the bids at the keyword or target level. I mean, this is the base one, and that way you can adjust them towards whatever your goal is as well. The other thing you do is when you move a keyword or a ASIN out of the auto campaign and you put it into a manual campaign, you need to make a negative exact match in the auto campaign of that. So that way you're not competing against yourself in those campaigns. So that's pretty standard basic optimization is running an auto campaign. If you're not using tools to automate this process, you need to let that auto campaign run for a couple weeks and then start pulling out the words that have converted. You also need to make sure you have a defined goal. Like, what is your target ACoS that you're going for? That way, when you move keywords, you can also adjust the bids up or down as the data comes in on how they're performing based towards your goal.
Where do you find the converting keywords in my auto campaign? What am I downloading?
Yeah, so you can go to your advertising reports. So you're going to go to your campaign and you're going to look and you're going to see your search term report right there, and you'll see the conversions. There'll be a list in that report. They'll show you how many sales you've made on those particular search terms. And so once you find that out, you can take those keywords and create your manual campaign as well.
Okay. And am I creating a broad phrase exact, or what do you recommend there?
So if you're just wanting to go basic optimization, an auto campaign that feeds exact match campaign is probably your best bet. It's also you won't be spending as much money in testing. If you've got a bigger budget, then you could certainly expand that out and add some more research campaigns to that, to where you could have an auto campaign and you pull out the converting search terms out of your auto campaign and make them broad matches. And then anything that converts off those broads, you can make phrases, and then off the phrase, you can make exact. So you can get more thorough. In this example that we have up here on the screen, we have an auto campaign that's feeding a broad, that's feeding an exact match. So there's a little bit more keyword research going on. They'll be able to discover the keywords that convert faster because they're testing them more. But you'll spend a little bit more money upfront in testing.
And what's a negative keyword? Like why would I need to do that? That's a step that a lot of people miss, and they're not really sure what a negative keyword really is. So what is that?
Yeah, so a negative keyword tells Amazon to not show your ad for that keyword. So you're saying, if you sell dog leashes and you've put a negative keyword, negative exact match dog leash, then Amazon will stop showing your ad for that keyword out of that campaign. The reason that's important is because you've just moved the word dog leash to your manual campaign, and you're trying to find the right bid on it at the keyword level in the manual campaign. So if you've got it also in your auto campaign at a different bid, you're competing against yourself essentially. The other thing that happens there is you lose track of your data. It's much better to have your data all in one place for that word. So once you've converted, it moves to the manual. It's on that. But the other reason you make negative keywords in an auto campaign is you find the search terms that Amazon is showing your ad for that are costing you a lot of money but not converting very well. You definitely want to make those a negative. And I really feel people when they're doing their campaigns, they feel like they're missing out if they don't have keywords in there, even if the data is clear. Hey, you've only made one sale on this and you've spent $90 on it. It's just not worth it long run. So you got to make sure that you make those as negatives. That's all part of optimizing your campaigns.
Yeah, and that search term report that Dustin's referring to, that's a good spot to see what Amazon thinks your product is. So if you're starting to see a lot of search terms that don't make sense for your product, well, it's because your listing needs to be better optimized. You need better keywords in there. You need to make sure you're not just keyword stuffing in the titles or in the descriptions of bullet points, because it's confusing Amazon. So if you see a lot of search terms that don't make sense for the product, first thing I would do is negate them out, like get them out of there so you stop showing up. But then the second thing I would do is go to your listing and remove those terms that are triggering that, because you don't want to keep showing up for that, because like Dustin mentioned, you're going to just continue to waste money and you're going to be mad and you're going to be like, this advertising doesn't work. And really it's your own fault. You made the listing too bad. So stay focused on the keywords you want to go after. Don't stuff a bunch of keywords in there because it could confuse Amazon. Okay. So I've done my auto campaign. I've got my manuals going. What am I doing next?
Well, let's just move on to tip number 2 here, because this is another really, really important one. So we just talked about tip number 1. You have to optimize. Do not just set a campaign and forget about it. It's not going to perform the way you want to. Optimize. So that's everything from adjusting bids, converting keywords to different campaigns, and negative keyword creation. You need to be doing all of that, whether you automate it or do it manually. Now, tip number 2 is you have to know exactly what you're optimizing for. This is another really important thing that I think a lot of sellers get mixed up on. A lot of times people think that all you're trying to do is lower your ACoS, your advertising cost of sales, that percentage. That's everyone's key focus, is they're trying to lower that. Well, you can get your ACoS really low by having really low bids and having your ad never show. And so you're going to miss out on sales. So knowing what you're optimizing for is critical so that you can make the proper adjustments to your campaigns. So there's basically 2 things that you would be optimizing for. Are you trying to rank? Are you trying to move up the organic rankings for certain keywords? If that's your goal, then you're less concerned with profitability and you're more concerned with driving sales. So that's the way you're going to optimize your campaigns towards that goal. If you're trying to optimize towards controlling your ad spend, like later on a more mature product, and you're trying to rein in your ad spend, then you're much more concerned with finding the right bids and optimizing the targets that generate sales while staying profitable. So then you start focusing much more on becoming profitable and your ACoS on those campaigns. So you have to know what you're doing, which one you're going for, because you can't do both at the same time. And that's what I feel like when we talk to a lot of sellers, how can I get more sales and lower my ACoS? Well, those are two different optimization goals, that you're trying to apply at the same time. So yeah, I think it's really important.
Yeah, and the main goal here with advertising is ranking, right? Like we're trying to rank your product, or you're trying to rank your product higher in the search results organically, so that you don't have to pay for ads in the long run. So in the short term, you're investing into advertising, so your product gets discovered, you gain more reviews, you start to creep up the organic ranking more, you start to get some more sales. So it's an investment. Dustin and I talk to sellers a lot, and some of them are just kind of hesitant on advertising, and they don't want to go after some keywords that their product is related to. And it's like you're missing out. I mean, you're going to have to invest here on some ads because if anybody who's been selling Amazon knows, like Amazon is covered with advertising. Top of search, you got the middle of the page, bottom of the page, product pages. Like they're driving ads and they're having people pay for it, and cost per clicks are going up. So using or knowing what your goal is, I would say 99% of the time your goal is going to be ranking. Like that's what you're going to be going after. As soon as your product gets on page one, and maybe it's at the top of page one or middle of page one, you can kind of reel that back a little bit. I wouldn't like get too conservative on it. I would still be aggressive with it because I want to maintain that page one ranking. But once you start to get that page one ranking, you're going to start seeing some organic sales come in. So that's why you want to use ads to do that. So, if you're starting out with advertising and you're not sure, you think your numbers are wrong, or your ACoS is high, that's normal because you're pushing forward advertising. You're telling Amazon, I'm willing to spend this much money. Now let's start ranking my product. And then in the long run, hopefully your spend goes down a little bit more because you've achieved organic ranking. Because every time somebody buys your product, when they click on your ad, there's that keyword, that search term they typed in is in the URL. So when Amazon sees that, your product gets a little bit more boost each time that somebody buys through that product. So super important to run ads. And again, Dustin talked about it. Ranking is one of the goals that you kind of want to go after. Okay, what do we got next here?
Yep. So that was number 2. Know what you're optimizing for. Now let's dive into number 3. Know the optimal strategy for your budget. This is huge because obviously if you've got a ton of money, you can do a lot of really cool advertising things. If you don't have a ton of money, then you need to make sure you're spending your ad dollars in the right spot and not spreading it all around so where you don't get the bang for your buck. So you have to know what is the right strategy. So, and this goes because there's a lot of courses out there. There's a lot of people that talk about different strategies, and they all work. I'm sure they work great, but they might not be what you need to do for your particular situation. And I think that can be a mistake that gets made a lot of times from sellers. So let's talk about number 1. If you've got that large budget, you've got a product that you're launching and you've allocated a really big advertising budget, there's a benefit to this because you're going to be able to rank faster for more things more quickly. Okay, you're going to spend a lot of money up front, but you're going to be able to establish yourself across Amazon and more places faster. So if you do have a large budget, that allows you to do more testing and optimize quicker, which we're talking about. And you can utilize a lot more of the research campaigns for testing and continuous optimization. So like we were talking about earlier, a larger budget will allow you to run a more complex campaign structure, like an auto campaign that feeds a broad match, that feeds a phrase match, that feeds an exact match. You could do product targeting campaigns. You could do defensive brand. We're going to talk about these a little bit later that you can do, but there's lots of things that you can do simultaneously to try to rank for as many things that you're relevant for as possible. And that's great. If you do have that budget, that can get you ramped up a lot quicker. Now, the key is if you don't have that budget, which is where a lot of us as sellers are, we don't have thousands and thousands of dollars that we can put towards a product launch on.
Real quick, Dustin, what is a large budget and what's a small budget? What would you consider?
Well, I think it's a good question, but it's definitely it's dependent on the category you're in and what you're going to need to rank. I mean, if you're launching a product and you've got 4 competitors and there's they're low review counts, images are not that bad, you can do these. You can rank pretty quickly with a low budget. Even using these more complex strategies. But if you're in a competitive niche at all, you're going to need a very maybe a couple $1,000s allocated to get rank, to try to get ranked. And if you're in an ultra competitive niche, well, it gets higher.
Yeah, I mean that's like, and just to kind of give like anywhere from $500 to $1,000, every other day or something. But for competitive niches, like that's going to be something where you're going to have to really invest. There's ways to do this. There's people, there's things where you could get like put your ad spend on a credit card and earn some points and kind of pay off that and kind of get some reward back by putting your ad spend on a credit card. So that's an idea. But yeah, if you're going to go in heavy on something and if you've done product research and you see a competitive niche, it's going to take a lot of money, a couple $500,000, every other day to really start to get that ranking going. And I think that's where you would fall under that large budget. Now, small budget, what would a small budget look like? $10 a day? What's that look like?
Yeah. I mean, if that's all you have is $10 a day or something like that, then it's a mistake probably to be doing things like auto campaigns and broad match campaigns, because you're spending your money on testing as opposed to ranking. And the more you can laser focus this, and I'm a believer that this is a good strategy anyway. I mean, even if you have larger budgets and once you've optimized, it's pretty good to launch a manual campaign with just a few exact match keywords, like your main ones that you want to rank for, and then spend all of your budget on just those few words. The reason this is helpful is because let's say you have an auto campaign or something, and you get a sale on this word over here, and then a sale on this search keyword over here, and you're not really generating a lot of velocity on a certain keyword to move yourself up the rankings. But if every sale that you make for this moment comes from 1 or 2 keywords, then you're able to move up the rankings much faster organically. And then once you do that, you can, of course, expand out and add more and more words to it or add your research phrases. But this is a really good strategy. If you've got a smaller budget, you need to laser focus on your most relevant keywords and just put all your budget on those as exact matches. Yeah. So that would be the way that I would go there. I think I lost Chris there for a second. He froze up on me. But hopefully we get him back in a second. So Chris has access to me switching this. I'll wait quickly for him to pop back in. While he does, we can talk a little bit more about this. All right, you got just me. We'll get Chris back in here in a second. It's the age of working from home with Zoom. It's always something fun happens when we do this, but hopefully we'll get Chris back in here real quick. So yeah, that whole point about knowing the optimal strategy for your campaigns or for your budget is really critical. And that's something that I tell people all the time is you got a small budget, don't spread it around. Make sure that you're putting it inside just one campaign with some exact matches so you can rank. All right, I'm going to do this without the sheet right now. We'll see how we continue to do here. So the tip number 4, since I don't have access to the slideshow, is high ACoS is not always bad. This is really counterintuitive for a lot of people, because a lot of people will look at their campaigns on Amazon, see that they have a high ACoS, and it'll scare you. But like we were talking about before, if you know what your goal is, if you're trying to rank for something, you may not be able to with a low ACoS. It may be that you need to have a certain ACoS just to have your ads show at the top of search so that you're ranking for those keywords. Now, what's important to calculate is your total ACoS. Okay, and that includes your organic sales. So you have to add your organic sales with your paid sales, and then divide that into your ad spend. So that way you get your total ACoS, which is the number that really matters. Your campaign ACoS is fairly irrelevant. Hey, Chris, you're back. I was talking all about step number 4. I just went on without you. So bring up the step number 4, why a high ACoS is not always bad. That's where we left off. And I was just talking about how you have to calculate your total ACoS to understand, because when you're ranking for a product, like I mentioned, your goal is to rank. It's not necessarily to be profitable. So if that ACoS number is concerning you, then it's going to force you to back off on your ad spend, and then you're going to stop that momentum you had on ranking. So make sure that you're calculating your total ACoS. If that's profitable, then everything is working. In a lot of cases, you can have a high ACoS and a super low total ACoS, and that might be a good indicator that you need to be even more aggressive. There's nothing wrong, especially if you're in a competitive niche. So don't let that ACoS number scare you away. It can be part of your strategy for sure.
And something I'll add here is tracking your keyword ranking. I don't know if Dustin mentioned it yet, but like seeing when you rank at as far as your keyword goes or your product goes for that search term. You can do this by open up an incognito window on Chrome and just type in your main phrase and see where you're at and track it manually. Or there's tools out there that will do that for you. But I would highly recommend, if you start running ads and you want to see how you're ranking organically, you want to track that. So you're gonna want to track where you rank at for the keywords you're going after, so that you can see if the advertising is actually improving your ranking for that search term.
Absolutely, great point. And another good indicator is just the amount of organic sales that you're getting. That's going to prove it too. But yeah, tracking where you rank on keywords is critical, because you could be slipping, and if you don't look, you won't know. And if you start slipping, you need to change what you're doing. You need to be more aggressive with your campaigns. All right. Number 5. All right. So this is a lot of these tips here in number 5. You might want to wait until you have some traction from some of these campaigns we've talked about before, because this is just sort of growing out and expanding your advertising and doing things like defending your brand. So additional strategies will be a defensive brand strategy. Sponsored brand video ads are killing it right now. They're absolutely fantastic to do. So what these strategies do is they will help build a moat around your brand. You can see here in this image that we have pulled up, we've typed in the word Coke into the search bar. And then in the sponsored brand section up there, we have a whole nother company, Zevia, right there. And then in the number 1 paid spot, you have their direct competitor, Pepsi. So what Coke is missing out on here is Coke is not bidding potentially high enough or at all on their own brand name, because when somebody types in Coke, there should be Coke everywhere. Every ad spot should be filled with Coke, so that way you're not missing out. So that's a defensive brand strategy, and those are great. You can set those up from the get-go if you want to when you launch a product. You won't have very much brand awareness at that point, but as you gain brand awareness, boy, is this important to have on here. So the other kind of thing that you want to do is you want to protect your listing. So on your product listing, there's sections on there. There's a bunch of ad real estate on there where you've got sponsored products related to this item. That's a big one. It's right underneath your sort of down by your description. And that's where your competitors can actually bid on your product and show up on your listing. If they have a competitive advantage, that's a really good spot for them to be. So the way to prevent that is to fill those spots with your products or your other products that you have. That way, when someone's looking at your product on your listing and they scroll down, they're just going to see your other products. And this can be really good if you've got variations or different 12-pack or something like that, where they may not have wanted what they were initially looking at. They were looking for a 12-pack, and so they're seeing your 12-pack instead of your competitor's 12-pack. So this is really, really, really important. And also, what's interesting about brand strategies, a defensive brand strategy, is typically they have actually pretty low ACoS because you get really good relevancy score. It's your brand name that they're searching for. So you're usually going to win the auction, maybe even at a cheaper bid. And the conversion rate's sky high because they were looking for you anyway. So these are great strategies to put in. Why don't you touch on sponsored brand video ads, Chris?
Yeah, video ads are fantastic. And those are where you simply type in something on Amazon, you'll start to see video show up. That's kind of a little bit below the fold, but even on mobile, it's like right there in front of you. And those video ads, they convert like crazy. They convert really well. I would imagine more, I guess they call it real estate or more ad spots are going to open up. I would bet that happens, especially with all the popularity these are getting. Even on the product pages, I'm seeing them on the product page sometimes too. So these are little videos you'll see. Just go type in a keyword or phrase you want to go after. You'll see them. People are starting to add these more. But the video doesn't need to be high production. It doesn't have to be high production. Like, it's just something you throw up and get it up there now, like get something going. But as these become more competitive and more well-known, you're going to want to invest more in getting like a good video, get something like a commercial style. But I would just do a regular video now. Just iPhone it, scan the product. If you sell a toy, show your kids playing with the toy. Just get something up there because it's super, super powerful for your listing. Now, you're going to need to have brand registry for this. Brand registry is something where you need a trademark for the brand name that you're doing. So, like in this case, Zevia is up there at the top of the headline ad. That would be a brand name, and they would need to get that trademarked. So you will need brand registry. These are advanced tips. So if you got one product and you're just starting out, don't worry about this yet. You need to focus on doing like an auto campaign, exact match campaigns. Focusing just there first. As you launch new products, you can start to dabble more into these. But conquer sponsored product ads first. That's what's going to be like 80% of your sales for now. And then as you start to add more products, you can start doing stuff like video ads and headline ads because people are going to start typing in your brand name. And you may not think about it. Like, I remember when I first started, I had 4 or 5 products, and all of a sudden people were typing in my brand name in the search bar. And it's just kind of like, oh, well, I guess I should probably advertise on that. Like you don't think about it until people start doing it. So, those are things that you're going to do in the future. But video ads, fantastic. I would imagine more video is going to be coming down the line. I would think that's going to be a big issue. So, definitely, if you're taking it seriously and this is a brand you want to go after and you want to continue with, get involved in the trademark, get that brand registered. We've talked about it on the podcast before, and you can go back and look at our other videos, but we've talked about ways to do it, and you can do it fast. So definitely something to take seriously.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to the next one. We've got a bonus tip here for everybody. This is our favorite. This is a staple that we do here at Solozo when we talk to people. This is everyone, no matter if you're selling one product or 10,000 products, you need to launch a low bid catch-all campaign. Chris, I don't think we've ever seen one of these not be successful.
Yeah, these are great.
These are great. Work.
We had a sorry to cut you off there, but I had a restaurant supply company reach out to us, and they didn't run any ads. They were just selling, basters and garlic presses and tongs, and they didn't run any ads. And they were just letting things sell organically. They did a catch-all campaign. He was kind of hesitant. I said, just put it at $500, make the bid 20 cents, and just let it run. At the end of the year, they did an extra $250,000 in revenue just through that ad. So, and the ACoS was probably like 2 or 3%, super low.
Yeah.
But that's an extra, $250,000 they can add to their bottom line. And now they see the power of advertising. So it's something that if you have a lot of SKUs, if you're a wholesaler and you got a lot of SKUs, no brainer. As you launch more products, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 products, do this already. Like add these products to these campaigns and just let them run. So super powerful.
Yep. And they're incredibly easy to set up and they require zero optimization. You launch an auto campaign, you put every SKU in it that you have. And the key is you have to set a very low default bid, 10 cents, 5 cents, 20 cents, somewhere in that range. Keep it low and then don't touch it. Just absolutely let it run and it'll be a winner. It'll absolutely win for you. So we highly encourage you to set that up. All right, Chris, let's talk real quick on the next slide here. Let's just talk about how everyone who's watching this, we covered a lot. And if you're going to do any of these things, there's going to be a lot of manual work. This is intensive if you're trying to optimize your campaigns. So Solozo might be right for you. Solozo fully automates this entire process that we just talked about. You get to set it up. You get to set up the strategy you want. You get to set your target ACoS that you're going for. And then Solozo is going to do all of the negative keyword creation, the keyword transfers, the daily bid adjustments. You can do really cool things like day parting your campaigns. We have an incredible suite of reporting that's just going to really open your eyes to what's happening with your business. Get data down to the product level so you know your profitability. There's so much that Solozo can help you with your business. So that way you're not having to do all this work manually.
Yeah, it's powerful. And just expectations. This is not some magic pill. Like you're not gonna sign up in a day and start to see your sales, go through the roof in 2 weeks. Like it's just, you gotta have expectations here. So this is where you sign up for Solozo. We do a call with Dustin and I. Or whoever, hopefully you get us. And we kind of show you how to get started with the tool. We go through your listings. We'll talk more about PPC. Just kind of learn your business. And then if you're right, if you fit, everything goes good, we'll move you on. We'll get you on a trial and we'll just show you how to get started with it. But Dustin mentioned it. We're going to automate it. So bid adjustments, transfers, negative keywords, day parting, times a day, all that stuff is going to be some things that we can automate for you that Solozo can handle. So go to Solozo.com, book a demo call, and come with your questions because we'll be ready to answer them.
Absolutely. That's great stuff, Chris. That is your 5 tips to improve your Amazon PPC right now. I want to encourage everybody. Look, you're watching us right now on YouTube. You're watching us on Facebook, wherever you're watching us. If you're on YouTube right now, where is it? Over here. Subscribe right now. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Chris and I go live every single day. And it's not us talking. We don't know everything. So we have experts from all over the Amazon space on with us every day. We want to make sure that you're catching this content and seeing it. So subscribe to the channel right now. And please also go to whatever platform you listen to podcasts on and subscribe to the 2 Amazon Sellers and a Microphone podcast, because typically we put the audio on those as well for everything. So that's today's video, 5 tips to improve your Amazon PPC. Hope to see you guys on a demo with Solozo sometime soon.
We'll do it again. See you, Dustin.